So, welcome to another Business Ahas. Yet we have another amazing guest here with us today at Rift. Cheers to Rift for hosting us for these wonderful podcasts that we have here, and it's live, as you will see behind you with our guest today. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I had the opportunity to meet our guest Brady, and Brady comes to us because he was introduced to me from a dear friend of mine named Rob Johnson. Rob Johnson was Board Developers' very first client, number one. Built their board, built their second board, built their third board, had a tremendous amount of success. Over the course of time, we've grown as an organization, and we've talked about lots of things with Rob, because he's become a dear friend, about how do we grow our skills on the inside as opposed to the outside. And Rob goes, I'm going to introduce you to a buddy of mine. His name's Brady, and I think you get to know him, there may be an opportunity. Well, can I kind of fast forward now? Fast forward now. Brady is now the Chief People Officer for Board Developer, and he's excited about what he's doing. He's having a lot of fun. Him and Marcus have literally changed the world, and like, hey, we're going to do this now, Jim. Like, well, okay, whatever. So with that, I'm super excited because I get to hear things from Brady today I've never heard from before, ever. I get to understand what kind of led him to kind of that big moment in his life where it kind of changed his career. And at the end of the day, what is that aha moment that really kind of impacted him as an individual? And in closing, I'm going to then take the very end of it, and I'm going to recap what that aha moment was, and kind of, I hope, as a learning experience for everybody to be able to say, oh, you know what? That's really, really impactful. So, hey, with that, Brady,
hey,
thanks for being here, man.
Yep.
Great having you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you're on the spot now.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah. So in the beginning, what kind of led you to the world of human resources and people? Because I commented earlier to my friend Misty, who's one of our guests today, listening, and I talked to her about you being very different than the normal human resources leader. And the different that I'll use is you really have an amazing personality. Not that HR people don't, but you really genuinely care. And it kind of shows on your sleeves. So I'm very interested. Kind of what led you to this in your career to begin with, and then we'll get to the aha moment.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks for having me. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it.
Sure, yeah.
And I appreciate you noticing that I'm a little bit different than others.
Cheers to that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're actually not the first person to say it, and so it's just validating to hear it again. It's great.
Well, I like to be validating.
That's right. So the start of the career, gosh, I was at the University of Arizona, and mom and dad said, "Go be an accountant." Yeah, I was a wildcat. That's right. And they said, "Go be an accountant," and didn't like that very much. And my stepfather was a programmer, so I took some MIS classes, and I was debugging code at 5 a.m, and I said, no, this is not for me. So I got in this collective bargaining class, and it works with the unions. And the instructor was from Boston, and he had this Boston accent. He was so funny. It was so engaging that I'm like, oh, I want to do this HR stuff. Well, I wouldn't want to touch a union with a 10-foot pole now.
Is it Boston or Baston?
Baston, yeah.
There you go.
Baston with my 394 WADA.
Yeah, the WADA.
WADA.
Sure, on the roof.
Yeah. That's right. Totally. Exactly right. Anyway, he was a hoot. So I got in HR. I liked business. I got
all based upon one person in one class.
One person in one class. I started studying HR.
Union strategic.
Yeah.
Discussions.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, again, I wouldn't want to do that now.
Collective bargaining.
Yeah, but it was fascinating because he was right. It's so boring. Like, it's the worst. Like, ask anyone, right? But anyway, he got me interested. So I minored in HR. I got out of school and got into staffing and then into software sales. That's where I met Rob Johnson. Was in software sales.
What year was that?
Oh boy, 2001. So that's an interesting story. I started at KnowledgeNet with Rob, and Rob was the outside sales guy.
Rob at KNet.
Yeah, Rob and Rob of KNet, the other Rob. That's right.
My first client.
Yeah. Exactly.
Then they became the training consortium, and then we bought the logo and brought the bought the brand KnowledgeNet back.
Yeah,
And so we became KnowledgeNet till we were acquired by Firefly.
yeah.
Oh yeah, crazy story.
It was funny to watch the branding come back to his company.
You know what that cost us?
How much?
$1.
Oh yeah.
They literally sold us KnowledgeNet.com, the naming rights, for $1.
Oh.
Because of how much both Robs impacted KnowledgeNet over the course of time.
So they had a lot of,
and they had sold, and it was dormant, wasn't being used.
Yeah.
So it was purchased by KNet. So go ahead.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. It was really funny to see that after a while. So I was out, so I started doing software. I met Rob. And it kind of dawned on me that while working with Rob and selling was good and I was okay at it, I really wanted to get back in HR. I just kind of missed it.
Mm-hmm.
And so the woman who was I had an internship in college, and she helped me get my first job in staffing with Robert Half. Her name was Twyla. She was my internship manager. And when I graduated, she helped me get a job at Robert Half, because she was also in the staffing world.
Cool.
And then later hired me to her staffing firm in Tucson.
Nice.
So that was
in Tucson.
In Tucson, in Dirt Town, right? As I hope I'm not insulting anyone. I lived there for 25 years. I'm allowed to call it Dirt Town. Am I not? No?
Maybe.
Okay.
I went to college there too. So.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I was working with Twyla, and her boss was named Scott. Okay. And so I kept in touch with him. This is all a story about networking and how you get in and how that leads your career.
It's people.
Mm-hmm. It's the impact of people and knowing people.
Yeah.
So as I was at KnowledgeNet doing software sales, I loved it. It was fun. I was good at it, but I really wanted to get in HR. So I called Scott and I said, I want to do recruitment. And he helped me get my first contract recruiting gig. So that was really nice. And then another one. And then I called him one day and said, hey, there's this company called TGen that does biomedical research. It sounds fascinating. They have a generalist job. Do you know anyone? And he goes, I do. So he hooked me up with who was to be my boss. And
so you got introduced to TGen.
I did.
And when you got introduced to TGen, and the person he introduced you to ended up becoming your boss.
Yeah, she was.
And what was her name?
Janine Tully was my boss.
Okay.
Best boss I've ever had. Really just was such a great mentor.
Mm-hmm.
And she grew me up there. I grew up there and learned the trade and learned from her. And she planned her succession because eventually she retired.
So all these introverts at TGen?
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Pretty much.
They were.
This one ginormous extrovert, Brady?
Interestingly, not so much of an extrovert as you might think.
Okay.
What do you call it when you can go both ways?
Ambivert.
I'm an ambivert.
Yeah, ambivert. Like ambidextrous.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I go home and I read, and that recharges my batteries, but I can get out and be fine.
But after you're done, you're like spent.
Okay. And then I got to go back home.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
And recharge your batteries.
Plug
back in.
That's right. Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Recharge with baseball or whatever I'm watching. So
by yourself.
Absolutely.
Okay, got it.
Kids don't even bother me.
Oh no.
Dad's gotta have one of these.
Yes, you do. Yes.
With my game.
Yes.
So anyway, so that whole story is about knowing people and how keeping in touch and the relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really impactful.
Because you wouldn't have had the opportunity to meet your then future boss if you had not already established a relationship to begin with.
At the beginning with Scott and Twyla. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And keeping in touch with them, right?
Okay.
And keeping in touch with Rob introduced me to you.
Yeah.
So it's just about these relationships, and that's what HR is, and that's what personnel work is, and inside corporations, it's having relationships and getting along and communicating well.
So relationships at the core.
Yes.
It's not what you know; it's who knows you.
Yeah.
The adage is the adage is not what you know; it's who you know.
Yeah.
And that's in the beginning.
Right.
But after that, it's not what you know, but who knows you, to be able to then say, hey, I got to introduce you to John. I got to introduce you to Bob.
Yeah.
And that's what worked.
Yeah.
That's pretty fascinating. Okay, let's fast forward.
Okay.
What was that moment? That aha, like, oh, shit. I literally, this is the magical moment of what changed you professionally, and says, hey, I've cracked the code.
Yeah. Yeah. So that came on after 10 years of working. I went back to the University of Arizona and started grad school and earned my MBA. And during that time, Yeah, memories of grad school. Oh, yeah. When I finished, I was like, I don't want to do any more school. That was really fun. But so in an MBA, you're learning all about different parts of business, and it was
and meeting
fascinating.
new people,
And meeting new people.
all different perspectives on their
Absolutely.
careers as well. Sure.
Absolutely. You learn about marketing, you learn about accounting, you learn about, and you really have an appreciation for other people's point of view. So this
Sure.
is what the big moment was when I realized that if I can understand what the other person is saying from their perspective, then that's going to clear up any miscommunication and any conflict and friction. So that was the key to the rest of my career and for me helping other managers and employees get along better. It's all about expectations and communication. And if you take a minute and think about what they're thinking about from their vantage point, then it's clearer, there's no friction, and you guys can get a lot more done. And the company's a lot more successful.
So let's distill that. What is the aha moment?
The aha moment was learning to and appreciating seeing the other person's perspective when you're working through issues. If I can see it from your perspective, then I can talk in your language. And that's what the MBA taught me. If I can talk to the CFO in accounting language, she's going to respect me a lot more. I'm going to help her solve her problems better.
So
even though they're people problems or people opportunities, I speak her language.
So would you agree that as you're talking to somebody about the issue they have, for you as a processor, thinker, to simply hit the brakes? Just hit the brakes and listen.
Absolutely.
Just listen. What are they saying? Why are they saying it?
Absolutely. That's right.
But if you are a competitive communicator, all you're thinking about is, what am I going to say next? Where am I going? What am I going to do next?
Right.
What am I going to say next? Yeah. So we had Tracy Bullock on, our CMO.
Oh yeah, she's lovely.
Yeah. So Tracy came on and talked about competitive communicators.
Oh wow.
And that whole and it was like this aha moment for all of us in the room. Like, oh shit. I mean, at what point are we all competitive communicators? Yes. Oh no. My dad's bigger than your dad.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a bigger family than you have. Right. I mean, whatever.
Right.
But
That's
at the end of the day, when you're talking with somebody about their individual issue, for you to back up one step, hit the brake pedal, and listen.
Yep. And not only listen, take it in, but don't take it in from your vantage point. Take it in through their lenses, their vantage point, to really understand the why of what they're saying.
How do you do that though? How do you take a moment and say, I really want to understand why you're saying what you're saying? How do you do that? Because everybody thinks, I can do that. Well, what really, can you? So is there something that we can think about? Or
absolutely, you can restate things to make sure first that you heard them correctly.
So you restate exactly what they said.
Paraphrase it.
Sure.
Just so is that what you were saying? That's what I was saying. Or no, you didn't quite understand. Then they can reframe it, and then you get it.
Sure.
And then why not just ask the question? So, what does that do for you, or how's that important? Ask a qualifying question about their statement, and then you get to start getting into their mind a little bit more. And even if you still don't get it, the fact that you're trying is going to win tons of points with them. They're going to trust you more because you are trying to understand them. And just the mere trying, you're winning.
Interesting.
Yeah, you're just winning from that.
So if you show them a level of interest and it's genuine, and you're sincere,
yes,
it's going to come across that exact way. And you have the ability to truly listen to the sender, the message, the receiver, where as in communication, we lose a lot of that in that translation. So in this case, you backed up the train, a stop, and said, explain that to me a little bit more.
Right. And why is that again?
And why is that again? And what are you looking to accomplish?
Right.
If it's appropriate.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
And so another benefit of that is not only are you hearing them properly so that you can help them, they're gaining trust with you, and you're also modeling the behavior that you want them to do with you.
Sure.
Take some time, learn from me what I mean. So the best way to get people to do what you want is to show them how to do it, right? So you're winning, you're solving problems, you're understanding, hopefully they're modeling your behavior and understanding you, and there's trust.
So do you think a little bit of kind of leading the conversation as well? So you're leading in the sense of taking them to a direction that they have to go, well, I have to like shift now and be more introspective. I have to pay attention more because now you're leading me down this path of really kind of reaching inside and going, okay, this is going to be a tough conversation.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It is. Yeah. Let's get to the heart of it. Let's get to the opportunity or fix the problem or whatever we're talking about.
Would you say it's cathartic for them?
Oh, I would think so.
And for you?
Oh, you really understand me. You really understand me. That is cathartic. People love to be understood.
And for you, does that, lack of a better word, bake your cookies?
Oh, absolutely.
You're like, okay, I did it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had a little bit of a breakthrough.
Yeah.
I made a difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And that happens with when I'm supporting people in those conversations, also when I'm coaching. Same sort of things apply. These are the same rules when you're coaching.
Every time.
It really is.
So go back to the basics. Number one,
Mm-hmm.
kind of let's like back up
Mm-hmm.
a couple more stops. Number one, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Absolutely.
And then it's not what you know, it's who knows you.
Yes.
And it's about those relationships that you have or we never would have met.
Correct.
Ever.
Isn't that wild?
And that relationship, and then it grows. And then the second piece, that what I'm going to call that aha moment, is to hit the brakes. Hit the brakes, listen to people, be genuine in conversation. Don't be transactional.
Right. Correct.
Don't be that competitive communicator. Fair?
Yeah.
And make a difference in other people's lives.
Yeah. And then you're going to feel it too.
So the message is, I think, real simple, is that, hey, slow down. Have a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of being a mile wide and an inch deep, let's be an inch wide and a mile deep.
Yeah, I like that. Actually, I like that a lot.
Because it really embraces that, you know what, I'm genuinely interested in you and I want to make a difference in your life.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the day, it's about you having success as whatever role you're playing today and your role in the future to make a difference in your own life. Because you as a soul is no different than my soul.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we truly have an ability to impact that one person at a time.
Absolutely.
Oh, Brady, man, that's cool.
One of the other kind of cool things about this is you talked about the transactional nature of conversations. If you have that trust with someone and you have that relationship and you know how they think because you've been deep, then you can be transactional other times and it's okay because you already have that foundation laid.
So once the foundation's laid, it's okay for you to take a little chances.
Sure.
Along the way.
Because the trust is there.
Interesting. So you built the trust first.
Yeah, you're building it through that relationship and that conversation. And so then if you get it wrong, they trust you. They're like, well, I know you didn't mean to say the wrong thing or hear me the wrong way because I know you and I expect that your intentions are the best.
So once you establish that level of relationship, after you do that, you can push a little bit and lead, guide the individual in what they need to hear, not what they want to hear.
Yeah, challenge them if you need to.
Yeah,
right? Like
for sure.
Really? Let's talk about that. I don't know, but it's okay because we have a relationship, so I'm allowed to challenge you now.
And that's key.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
It was so the MBA really led me to that, to really understand that, and it's been really helpful ever since.
Let's all back up the train because of one person, that one teacher in one class.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Yeah.
Union negotiations.
I know, it's wild.
So where is he today?
I have no idea. I was thinking about that. I was like, I bet you I'm going to have to talk about my past. And I don't know. He was up there. So I hope he's still alive.
Interesting.
It was a long time.
So that one human that you had changed the trajectory of who you were and what you were going to be. Based upon a discussion he had with you, where you were as an individual and what you were kind of called to be moving forward.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, thank you. Because I think, Brady, you've embraced this belief that if we can make a difference in other people's lives, we make a difference in the world, one person at a time.
Absolutely. And we make a change for ourselves.
We do. And I think it impacts us as well.
100%.
Man.
It's good stuff.
I really appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
It's good conversation.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for being here. Till next time.
Until next time.
Yes.
All right.
So there it is. Brady shared his story. I'll tell you, man, I had no idea where it was going to go, where it was coming from, and kind of hit that impact. I kind of welled up a little bit a couple times because he really kind of hit me. And if you, as a human, we kind of process these words and what other people kind of communicate to us, who they are, what they stand for. But if you can truly be what I said earlier, kind of that, instead of being a mile wide and an inch deep, be a inch wide and a mile deep, and then make a difference in people's lives. And Brady's done that in his career, and it's an honor to have him part of our team. It's an honor to have him here today, and I'll tell you, it's been very special. So on behalf of our entire team at Business Ahas, again, a big thank you to Rift. Thank you so much for being here today, Brady, and thank you again to Rift for being a great host. And we cheers to more impact you have to come.
Yeah, thank you.
Until next time.